Until recently, if you said you'd had a traitor in the office, I'm not sure it would have gone down that well.
However, following the successful BBC TV show, The Traitors, we are very lucky to have TV star and insurance broker Andrew Jenkins with us today. Hello, Andrew.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So now, why is Andrew with us here at RiskSTOP Group HQ today? Well, Andrew is an insurance broker, of course. So Ryan and I were keen to show him around our part of the business at rebuildcostassessment.com.
But as well as that, Andrew has been talking to us about a topic that is incredibly important to both Andrew himself and us here at RiskSTOP Group.
So before we get into all that, Andrew, tell us a little bit about the Traitors. How did it all happen? What took you from your broking office at PG Insurance Services in Cardiff to one of the biggest TV shows in the UK?
Basically, I was approached. I watched the first series of The Traitors and I loved the first series. I really got immersed in it. My family watched it, me, my partner at the time, and there's 2 children. We loved it. We watched it on catch-up, I think, and we watched it over 3 days. And then in March last year, I had a message on my Instagram page. I have an Instagram page called Strengthen You, talking about mental health and well-being. I had a message on there saying, do you fancy applying for this? First of all, I thought it was a bit of a joke. I was one of the boys winding me up. And then I said, go on, I'll try it. Out of my comfort zone. Do things out of my comfort zone I started doing the last couple of years. And I applied for it. And they kept, every couple of weeks, every couple of months, they say, you're through the next stages, you're through the next stages. And then in August, they said, we love you. The producers want you on the show. And that's how we come to do it.
And like when they sort of like, when you're going through that process of you're going to be doing the show, was there any part of you that was thinking at any point, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, if I'm going to go through this? Was it always like when they said apply, go for it, and you were like, yeah, nice one, let's do it? Or was there any point where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this or not?
Yeah, there was 1 or 2 points I had that thought where I never thought I'd get on it, to be honest, in a million years, because I think it was 90,000 people or something like that applied for the show. I never thought, I saw a bit of a joke, a bit of fun, a bit of process to start off, a bit of a learning experience. So I never thought I was going to get on the show, and it was quite surreal. It's only when I actually pulled up outside the castle for the first time that I realised that, wow, I'm on the show. I'm actually on the show. It was a bit of a pinchy moment. I'm not sure when that actually kicked in. It was either when I met Claudia for the first time outside the castle or the first round table. I actually realised, wow, I'm on one of the biggest shows on TV. And right up until that point, I never believed I was on it, to be honest. So yeah, it was crazy.
And then when you was like a student, I'm quite intrigued at that because obviously it's a TV show and everyone sees a castle and they see that. And there's that bit when you guys get there and you see everyone's kind of like starstruck, the cameras are on. Is that very much you get there and it's like, you know, when you see a celebrity, that feeling of like, oh, wow. Was it that same feeling of like, I'm inside this now, that what I've been watching and what I've been watching 3 days,
yeah.
I'm now here and I'm living that and I'm part of it.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it was when I pulled it and Claudia walked to the castle, I thought, wow, it's Claudia Winkleman. The Fringe. And I thought, wow, she's there. Like she's touching distance away. And it was crazy. Yeah, it's like one of them wow moments, pinch yourself moment. And it wasn't until, the castle's an impressive building. And it's all, nothing is scripted. It's all, whatever you see on telly, obviously don't get me wrong, it's stop and start, but it's everything, you don't get told what to say, you say, everything you say is what you say, and there's nothing scripted, and it's an impressive place, an impressive building.
So you mentioned Claudia. Is she as energetic in real life as she is sort of on the show, or is...
She's probably worse in real life, to be honest. Yeah, she's an amazing woman. She's a lovely person. She genuinely cares about the cast members, and she genuinely cares about the production. She wants it to do well, and she's really in it. It's like having another competitor when you're doing the trials. It's like having somebody else with you, egging you on and encouraging you on. She really gets into it. A lot of the stuff she says is not on camera because it can't be put on telly. But she's really nice. She's an amazing woman. She's a lovely woman. She's nice. She's lovely in real life as well.
It seems like because that was one thing that I loved about the show was actually the challenges. That's one thing that I think when I look at it, I'm like, it's so fun. Was that like when you were watching it the first time, and then you found out you're going to get on it? Were you excited for those parts? That you're like, this is, I'm looking forward to jumping into those challenges and sort of really pushing myself in that as well. Yeah,
that's one of the main reasons I wanted to go on the show. I don't really watch reality TV. I'm a Celebrity. The SAS Who Does Wins, and that's probably them too. And I'm quite physically fit. I'm a sporty person, competitive person, always done sport all my life. So yeah, obviously the physical side of things, I enjoy that. I enjoy a challenge. So I'm really looking forward to the challenges actually. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go on the show, because I want to say I was an eating challenge or a challenge. It wasn't an eating challenge, luckily, but yeah, it was part of the reason I went on there. I wanted to go on there.
How did you juggle sort of your insurance work and then coming on to TV? How did that work?
That's a straight. I'd only just started my job, so I was on probation for 6 months in my job, and 2 months into my probation, I went to my boss and said, I need some time off work. He said, that's fine. How many days do you want off? I said, days? I said, 4 weeks. said, you can't have 4 weeks off work. I said, well, I quit then. He said, you can't quit. I said, well, I can because I'm on probation, so I don't have to give any notice. It's a good opportunity. Sorry to put this position, I said, but it's a good opportunity. I'm not going to miss it because it's a chance of a lifetime, and I can't tell you what it is either. So it's a TV show on the BBC, and I said I couldn't tell him what it was. So I signed the NDA, so I couldn't talk about anything really. So, and he said, let me see what I can do. We don't want to lose you. You're a good member of staff. You're really good at your job. Customers love you. So okay, give me the time off. So then he went away, spoke to higher up people, and then they came back saying, yeah, you can have the 4 weeks off work, but you're not allowed to mention the company name on the television. And I said, that's fine. The BBC, you can't do that on the BBC anyway because advertising. So
yeah,
and that's how the conversation went.
It's quite a tricky conversation.
It was quite awkward, yeah.
By the way, I do really like it, but can I have 4 weeks off?
Yeah, he thought it was a couple of days I wanted off. He said, that's fine. How many days do you need? Quite a few days, actually. 28 days. No, they've been really supportive in all fairness. They've been good.
Yeah, and I suppose, do the show support you in that at all? I guess they help you and sort of, you say you sign an NDA and everything as well, but I'm guessing they can, if you needed to, they would give you a piece of paper to look, this is what's going on and we need it kind of.
I suppose they would have done that. Yeah, I suppose they could have done it, but again, they couldn't say too much what the show is because it's all embargoed until it was filmed last September. It was so. It's embargoed until it was on telly in, I think it was January, February. February time it was on the telly, I think originally this year. So, I don't know what they would have done, to be honest. Hopefully, I wouldn't have come to that, but they may have helped out. But at the end, I don't think it made a difference. They said no, so I had to find a new job.
You've got to keep your lips closed as well. So between then, after filming, then coming back, and you can't talk about anything, you've got to keep your lips sealed and tight.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Strange. My mother and father thought I disappeared off the face of the earth for 4 weeks. So I told lots of people closest to me. I think my partner at the time, she'd have been strange if I had come home for 4 weeks. I'm just off out now, babe. 4 weeks later, I rock back up, so that wouldn't have gone down too well. Yeah. And I told my son where I was, and I was like, you got to tell people you trust, because if you do have to sign, obviously, just confidentiality things, and if it does get out, they can fine you quite a substantial amount of money, which I haven't got. So, so I didn't want to get fined, so I obviously told people I trusted, probably 2 or 3 people. So my partner, my youngest brother, and my son at the time, the 3 people knew. And then, the rest of the people didn't know where I was for 4 weeks, and my employer.
One thing about obviously your appearance on Traitors was talking about mental health and raising, sort of using it as a platform to raise awareness for it. Could you tell us a little bit about your story and sort of any issues you had sort of surrounding mental health?
Yeah, the reason I went on the show originally, the main reason I went on the show, well, I didn't want to be a celebrity or famous. I don't think I'm that anyway now, I'm just a normal down-to-earth guy. But the reason I went on the show, I want to show people, I want to change the world, and I want to show people that you can have a trauma in life, you can struggle with your mental health, maybe look a different way with your scarring, and you lose your confidence, self-esteem, all these different things that hold people back in life. I want to show people that you can turn things around, and you can keep believing in yourself, keep dreaming, and then great things can happen. You can turn your life, you can do good things off it, and that's the reason I went on the show. And so far, the reaction I've had has been very positive. I haven't had any negative comments. There was on Twitter when the show was on and things, but most of the feedback's been very positive. They said you're genuine, you're relatable, you're honest, and that's what I am. Me. I can't change. I'll never change the person I am. I'm a down to earth guy. I want to be relatable. I want people to look at me and think, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. Don't get me wrong. Doctors, psychologists, counsellors, they do a fantastic job, but sometimes people don't want to speak to somebody, a professional. They want to open up to somebody who's relatable, non-judgmental, and understands what they're going through. And that's what I'm hoping. Well, that's what the feedback so far. That's what I'm getting. So it's good.
And then so obviously you went on to open up that conversation. That's something that's really important to yourself. And we'll go into more depth about your support circles and stuff, which we've spoken about recently and previously earlier. What was it like? I'm interested to see what it was like to actually be taken away from that support network that you have built in that time for 4 weeks and isolated away from that, and then opening up on a conversation which is really actually quite sensitive and personal to you with a bunch of strangers that you've never met before.
Good question. It was tough. I'm close to my son, very close. We're like brothers, me and my son. Really. My partner at the time, her 2 children. I got a close family. It's a common thread, I think, or common theme through all my talks. And family is my why and my purpose, really. My mother, my father, my 3 brothers, my son. It means more to me than anything. To be taken out of that environment for 4 weeks practically was tough. It was okay the first couple of weeks, but then towards the end, it started getting a bit difficult towards the end, and it got a bit emotional. It's a challenging time because it's a physical challenge. You've got a mental challenge as well in the castle, so you're drained anyway, you're tired anyway, you're emotional anyway. But then being away from the loved ones and the family to have a hug or to talk to obviously you can't talk to anyone. They were fantastic, the BBC, on well-being, etc. You know, there are people coming to your room on a regular basis, making sure you're okay. Psychologists, they're really big on that and hot on that. They were brilliant, in all fairness to them. But it's still, they're not real. They're doing their job. They're not real loved ones and family members, which is different type of person altogether. So it was tough. But in my room, I had pictures of all my family. Lots of pictures on my room. My family, my mother, my father, my partner, the children, all around the room. And I was talking to my photos every night and every morning. And the psychologist comes to my room every 3 days. I say, am I going crazy or something? I'm talking to photos. And she goes, no, it's good. You're getting off your chest. You're talking about things. You're not bottling things up, which is what I bottled up for 20 years of my life. I bottled things up. So you're getting things off your chest and talking. And in the morning, I'd say, right, I'm off now, guys. I'm off now. I'm off to do my challenge. I'm off to do this now. Hope I haven't been murdered. And they would never answer me back. It's so rude. But they never answer me back. But I went to do my chore. I went to do every night. I come home and think, I've had a good day today. I did okay. I won't give me no feedback either. So very, very ignorant at them time, my family. But yeah, it was good. I found it really good. I thought I was going mad, but the psychologist said it's a good thing to do. So it was tough, though.
It's helping you.
So you mentioned sort of the accident you had sort of happened sort of 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What encouraged you to start talking about sort of now? Because from what I've sort of read and seen, you've only recently started talking about sort of what had happened. So
yeah, it happened 20th of August 1999. So 20 for another, I know the date, but 24 years ago the accident happened, and my family are amazing. I got a great family, mother, father are amazing people, loving upbringing. But we just don't talk about emotions or feelings. Like even to this day now, I don't think I've ever really seen any of my family show any emotions, because it's not knocking them. That's just the generation they're from. You know, they're from an era where men are men and strong and big, hard, winning's everything, and you're the best. And it's just a motivation. I'm 3 brothers as well. A lot of testosterone in my house, and a lot of competitiveness in my house as well. So that's brought up in that era. So when I had my accident, I didn't speak to my family about the accident or my family until last year. So 24 years later, because you don't want to talk to them at the time. You're putting them through enough stress as it is. Plus, we just don't talk about things. So I bottled things up for over 20 years. And then, the true catalyst, I suppose, for me to start talking was my partner at the time. I met her about 4 years ago, and she'd had trauma through her life as well. But she walked around happy, positive, sees the good in everybody. Was it rose-coloured glasses or tinted glasses or something? She's always, perhaps too much, sees the good in everybody. Whereas I was always walking around with a chip on my shoulder, looking back at what I'd lost, my rugby career, my looks, or I'd lost all this sort of thing, angry, all the time. And I'm thinking, I want to be like her. She could have let what happened to her define her and things, but she didn't. She's walking around positive, bubbly all the time. She's a life and soul everywhere she goes. So that was one thing. And the second thing, I suppose, I met the man last year who saved my life, Professor Hamish Ling. He operated on me the night of the accident, so they got him out of bed. Obviously, he had a phone call to say, you got this guy coming in, we need you to operate on him. And in the night, they got him out of bed to come and operate on me that night. And so he effectively saved my life, I suppose. And I know there's a team of people around him, but I know he was the main surgeon. So I met him last year. I tracked him down on Google, which is a bit creepy. And I turned up at his office. I told him I was coming. I didn't just rock up at his office. I did tell him I was coming. And I walked in and I said, and he said, wow. He said, look how big you and strong you are. He said, you're incredible. He said, you thought you were going to die on so many occasions. You're a miracle patient. You've got to start sharing your story. So I thought to myself, give me a kick up the backside. I need to read it. What have I got to be miserable? What am I looking back for all the time? I've been given a second chance at life. And I got an attractive partner, a good kid, a great son, a nice family, good job. I'm thinking, God, most people would want what I got. Like, I'm not bad looking, I'm quite fit. So I'm thinking, why am I so resentful? I find my purpose, I suppose. So my purpose and my mission now, I suppose, is to help inspire people. So there's something called post-traumatic growth, which is a big thing of the last couple of years, where people have had a trauma in their lives, but instead of letting that break them or define them, they've grown from it. They've grown from their trauma. It's like when you're a Paralympian, for example. They lose a leg in Afghanistan. Don't get me wrong, what happened is awful. They wish it never happened to them, same as me. But then off the back of that, now they're in the Paralympics representing Great Britain. Whereas if they hadn't happened, they wouldn't have been good enough to put in the able-bodied Olympics. But as a result of their accident, they represent their country, winning gold medals and that. So it's like post-traumatic growth. People have been attacked and things, they turn their good, some of them turn it around to do good and help others, inspire people. And that's what I want to do now, really, is inspire people and show people who can do good things in life. I
think, sort of going into that answer a bit more, 2 things, really. The first thing is obviously that people talk about, everything happens for a reason type thing, which I'm a bit of a believer myself. Yeah. I think sometimes your paths are kind of laid out and things will happen that you don't necessarily agree with or want to happen, but actually off the back of that, something important happens.
Yeah.
When you look at you before the accident and you now, what's the key difference in that person?
I'm much more much more self-aware. Self-awareness is a big thing. Self-awareness, you've got to be really, let's identify certain things, the way you speak to people, the way you act and things. That's a big thing. Years ago, I wasn't that self-aware. I'd say things that fly off the handle. I'd say certain things without any thought of other people's feelings or emotions, and it's been more self-aware of my own triggers and myself, my own mental health issues. If I'm starting to struggle, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm a work in progress, and I still need to identify my areas I need to work on. And if I know my triggers, I'm starting to struggle. I get a bit irritable, perhaps, and I know I need to put the brakes on and slow down a little bit. So I'm more self-aware. I'm more confident in myself, more self-esteem. For years, I judged my self-worth on the material things in life. And the way the world is at the moment, people they base their self-worth and their value on how big their house is, how nice their car is, what six-pack they got, or hips, or hourglass figure, the women got lips they got. So, but it's not, it's rubbish. It's not like that. Like people these days, younger people growing up as well, social media is such a powerful tool. You're reading social media all the time. You're on it all the time, TikTok, Instagram. And you think the whole world has got a six-pack. They've got a mansion with a helicopter on the roof, with a Lamborghini on the drive. I said, rubbish. It's not true, I said. I don't know. When I was growing up, I didn't know anybody had a Lamborghini. Nobody had a helicopter with a mansion. And a couple of people had six-packs. But I said, you're seeing now 5% of the world's population on your feed, and the more you're looking at it, the more they're showing you because the algorithms and things. So I said, it's good. Yeah, I'm not going to be with these dinosaurs and say it's bad, because it is good for certain things. But you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. And I think parents, teachers, school, whatever, they got a duty of care, a responsibility to tell the kids, look at it. First of all, know what they're looking at, because I know a lot of parents don't even know what they're looking at. But finally, see what they're looking at and they're scrolling at. But take to them, look at it. But it's not true. This is what the true life is. I know women got cellulite, or men got this, and they think, I'm failing. I don't look like that. People don't look like that in real life. To me, I've done photo shoots myself, and I don't look like that. I don't walk around with a six-pack with a fake tan. It's lighting, tan, and oil, baby oil. That makes you look good. But I said I don't look like that all the time. I don't look like that now. But people I've got a great physique. And not all the time. 1 week of the year, I got a good physique, but I've starved myself to look like that. I'd be miserable, give up all the things I enjoy in my life to look like that. Is that really healthy in a pit? No, it's not, is it really? So people need to start realising it's not true. And things, people have got a responsibility to show people it's not true as well. So.
And then with that, like that change you're saying, obviously your confidence is changed, like the way you look at things has changed, like your look on life has changed and the outlook on it. If I was to put those two people in front of you right now and say that you could be that person or that person, would you always choose the current person you are now? And in a sense, has what's happened actually made you really proud of who you've become from doing that?
Good question again. Good questions, isn't he? God, my brain's hurting, right? Yeah. No, that's really good question. And no, I think I'd be the person I am now. 'Cause I'm more like more completely rounded person. More rounded. I'm more accepting. I understand people better. I'm happy, more complete in myself, I think. Whereas for years, I might have said the old person because I miss only because of the rugby. But then rugby's not the be-all, end-all in life to me. There's so much more out there after rugby. And that's something to tell my son. We had a conversation. I spoke to my family for the first time last year about the accident, but I didn't speak to my mother only speak to my mother and father. I spoke to my son on a Saturday morning in a coffee shop in Cardiff for 4.5 hours. We had a chat about everything. We talked about drugs, drink, girls, sport, everything. At the end of the conversation, I said to him, I love you. For the first time I've ever told him in his life, he's 22. I love you and I'm proud of you. No matter what you do in life, I don't care how big your car or your house is, what car you drive, what job you got. I don't care. As long as you're a good person, you're happy, that's all I care about. I said, I'm proud of you no matter what. And I hugged him for the first time ever. So it's the first time ever. I hugged him, like he's 22. And I hugged him as a baby, obviously, but the first time he's an adult, I suppose, because it's not a man thing to do. So I done all this and spoke to him last. So I hope I took a bit of pressure off and broken the cycle in my family for the generations of being hard, strap macho men, whatever. I'm hoping now he'll tell his kids to talk, and he'll open up to his children, tell their kids they love him and hug him and all the things. So things I didn't do when I was growing up. So it doesn't make you weak to say your feelings and emotions. It makes you stronger, I think. It makes you a better person. But growing up, I thought that showed weakness and you're not a real man. But it's rubbish to me. And so I tell people, everybody should tell people you love them, tell your kids you love them, tell your parents you love them. And I still don't tell my mother and father now, to be honest. I still find it awkward. I want to, but I find it so awkward to tell. I was just not used to doing it. So me and my son say each other now, tell each other how we're proud of each other and and we love each other, but I still find it hard to tell my mother and father, so I'm still working on it myself. It's
interesting, isn't it? Because like you said, that conversation with your son, and like, do you think, I know you said family is like really important to you, and I'm guessing always has been, as you've always said. I'm wondering if because of what's happened, it's magnified that as well, because you realise that actually anybody in the family could just bang, it's gone, it changes, and then they're not there anymore. With your son, is part of like what you do as well to kind of, like you talk about there, breaking stigmas and bringing it down, is part of it to kind of like actually show him a different path in a different way that what you've kind of come through in your life in a way.
Yeah, so I suppose it is. To be in touch with your feelings, emotions, talk about things, don't judge people, be open-minded. Yeah, just be a more accepting person, I suppose, not so much judgmental and things. And yeah, talking doesn't make you weak. So I'm hoping he can come and talk to me about anything. Whereas growing up, I couldn't really talk to my parents about anything. Like if I couldn't talk to them about sex, drink, girls, they just don't get it. So they're lovely people, lovely humans, they're lovely, like loving parents, but they don't get it. Like the generation they're from, they haven't got mobile phones. They've never been in an aeroplane. They haven't got passports. They've never driven a car. My parents don't drive. And they're stuck in the 40s, do you mean? And that's not a bad thing. They're really good. Family means more to them. They're from the generation where family means everything. They do. My mother does a big family tea every Sunday. She used to. And then all the family go there. My brothers and the partners, the kids all go to my mother's house. And she makes a big buffet, I suppose, with pies, pasties, gatos on the table. We all meet in my mother and father's house. And so family means more than anything, yeah. But yeah, so they're great people, but I'm hoping now you can see there's more to life. You haven't got to be big, strong. You can be big and strong and do certain things, but you can still show emotions and that as well. So yeah, I'm hoping he's learned a lot off me, and he is proud of me. I think already, I know he is. He told me now, so it's good.
How did it feel when you sort of told your story for the first time? Was it kind of like a sense of relief, or
on telly or in my family?
Whichever.
I told my family. It was a strange feeling told my family, first of all, because we don't talk about things like that. It's been 24 years, the elephant in the room brushed under the carpet. So the reason I started doing it, I suppose, for the two reasons I mentioned earlier on, the doctor and my ex-partner, but also I wanted to start talking about it on social media and things like that, but I didn't want them to find out, third party, off other people thinking, this is what, because obviously it's a big part of their lives, so it included them. So I wanted to tell them what I was doing. That's the reason I had that conversation. And we spoke about it, but again, they don't get the mental health. They don't understand. They think mental health is like bad mental. As soon as you say mental health, like everybody, it's bad. They think you're sitting in a corner, rocking back and forth, crying. I said, no, everybody's got mental health. It's just some got good and some got bad, and how you manage your mental health, people manage it differently. But I had the conversation with them, and that's why I wanted to have that conversation first of all. It was really an awkward conversation, but we didn't go into too much detail. But then last week, I was filmed by the BBC Morning Live, and I had to interview my parents. I didn't know I was interviewing until the morning. So on Friday, the camera crew came to my mother's house, the sound people, there's quite a few people there. It was my mother, my father, my brother, my younger brother, Carl, my son, Morgan, all sat at my parents' house. So they come, they said, where's the script? Where's the, you were doing the interviewing. Where's the script? We haven't gone. Oh, okay. So I had to interview my mother and father, and they asked him questions like, tell me about what you felt like the night of the accident. How did you feel? I've never ever spoken about feelings and emotions like that. And my mother burst into tears. I started crying. My brother started crying. So it was really good television. It's going to be tomorrow. But yeah, it was difficult. I said to my mother, how are you feeling? So somebody said to me last year, have you ever asked your mother how she felt about the accident? How she felt about it? I said, no, I really haven't, I suppose. Because obviously they were going through trauma and stress. I said, imagine being told your son's not going to make it, or he's going to be not going to use his arms, legs, walk, talk, ever recognize anyone. So it must have been horrendous for them. God forbid my son, if everything I ever said anything about my son, I don't know, I'd cope with that, to be honest. It'd be difficult. But so my mother and father, they went through a lot as well. So I got to try and understand from their point of view, what they went through as well. So yeah, and when I spoke on the telly on the Traitors, the whole purpose of me doing the Traitors was to break the stigma and help show people that sort of thing. So I went on there, and the people on the show, they all had their own story. A lot of them had their own story, and they were quite inspirational. Like Johnny, for example, lost a leg in, he was Afghan, and he's a great guy. And there's all of them had their story. Harry had a good story, and they're all nice people. I felt comfortable enough around to open up and talk about the story and talk about it. So, and to be honest, it was on camera one-on-one, so it wasn't nobody else in the room. So it was a bit easier opening up on camera. I think it was in episode 11. They showed me talking about my things, I think, on the camera. But there's a good bunch of people there, not just the cast, but the crew as well. The crew were lovely as well. The production team, they're all just great people. There's a lot of people involved, as you can imagine, but they were just great. Allowed me to open up.
I was going to say, with you talking about like social media and stuff, and that was one of the main reasons that you opened the conversation with your family to start off with, just kind of say, look, hey, I'm going to talk about this, just let you know, so you don't kind of get like oh wow, he's talking about this, doesn't ask us. Do you feel, because you've got the confidence to do that you kind of have like not a duty, because I think that's probably the wrong word to use, but you take a sense of pride of like, look, I feel comfortable talking about this, so I feel like it's important that I have this conversation to encourage other people that might not necessarily have it on the same bandwidth that you have it on, but maybe they're in a circle and they're close people. Do you feel a sense of pride in that?
Oh yeah, massive, yeah. Because I get messages on a daily basis now, but it's had the effect that I wanted. It's nice getting taken to rugby matches and getting sent. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be ungrateful. I didn't do it for that. I'm not a material person. I'm a council estate. I know where I'm from, and I'm a down to earth guy. So that's nice. But the reason I did it was, like I said earlier on, as well, helping people. And I get messages every day of people saying how inspirational I am. I got 3 or 4 children doing school projects on me in school as a role model. Like a woman messaged me the other day or yesterday saying, I'm struggling to go through my chemotherapy, my cancer at the moment, and what's keeping me going is you. What's keeping me fighting is like seeing you, how resilient you are, and how much you overcome, and how positive you are. And that's just, I get 100 messages like that of people saying they're struggling with this, they're doing this. What keeps them motivated and going is me, which makes it all worthwhile. So the tiredness I've got at the moment, the stress, I got juggling everything at the moment. When I get messages like that, it makes it all worth it, and I will make a difference to the world. So if I die tomorrow, I made a difference to people. So, I can lie on my deathbed, whenever that is, hopefully a long, long time, and think I made a difference. I have made a difference to the planet. Whereas back, if it hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't have made any difference to life, probably, perhaps my family, maybe, and that's it. But like now, I'm making a difference to thousands of people's lives, and that's the whole purpose of me being on there.
And I was like, with like your sort of like the talking about it and the opening up about it and other people coming to you as well, and obviously you've spoken about and said about how it's like a never ending thing, like you constantly work on your mental health. It's negative and positive things, like it's just constantly evolving. It's like any form of health that we have. When people message you certain situations, is there ever times when people message you and actually unearth something within yourself that you didn't know was there?
Well, to be honest, I don't think I'm 100% over my trauma.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm still, like, say, work in progress. And I think there are certain triggers that I get sometimes as well. Like, you get a bit upset, like after today. But like, there's certain things I talk about, which means, am I fully healed? I don't know if I am, really. I don't know. Perhaps I'm not. I'm still a work in progress. And I think everybody's mental health's a work in progress. Nobody's ever fully there. Nobody can ever say, I've done now. Things change in life. Your job changes. You lose loved ones, partners. So things change, and people's mental health gets challenged all the time. And it's just how you can overcome that. It's how putting things in place to learn how to overcome it. Yeah. So when some people have said things to me. Everything's been positive. I've never had any negative comments or anything. But certain things that people tell me stories about, certain things they've struggled with. Children being bullied and things. Their kids are being bullied and things, and not that they're bullied, but like little things like that make you think, oh yeah. I'm doing good things. I'm changing people's lives and helping people. So I do get a bit emotional sometimes at certain things. But that's only because I'm proud of what I'm doing for the first time in a long, long time. I'm proud of myself.
Looking back sort of on your journey and kind of what you've been through, what advice would you give to your younger self sort of before the accident, knowing what you know now?
Open up and talk to people. Talk to people around you, close to you. Listen. Try and help other people. If you're not struggling yourself, somebody struggling, ask the question. Do you know what I mean? Just try and help them. Don't just bury your head in the sand. Doing nothing is probably the worst you could do. Probably, I'd rather somebody open up and cry to me than go and visit their bedside in 6 months' time, or even worse, their funeral. So I'd rather somebody. It's an awkward conversation. I'm not going to go at people. I get why people don't do it. They don't want to unearth anything or trigger anything. But like I said, I'd rather somebody do that and cry or unearth something and try and get a blockage and open up to me than rather just ignore it and walk past it. And obviously communication as well. Talking doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger, I think. Really, it makes you. I don't know. Like the feedback I'm getting so far, I think it's people like the vulnerable side, a big strong man like me, and the doorman and all this sort of thing, rugby boy, or somebody like you can open up and counselling, and yeah, I can still lift lots in the gym. I can still fight. I can still do anything I can. But it doesn't make me less of a person or less a weak. It doesn't. So just open up and talk. I wish I talked a lot sooner maybe than I did.
I think with like the talking thing, it's like become quite a common thing. People are talking about, like, have you seen since you've been involved in this kind of conversation that there's been a real shift in that idea of actually it's okay to talk, especially within guys and blokes, like kind of like that macho feel of lock emotions away and I don't mention it. If I do mention it, I'm not a man. Yeah. Have you seen a shift in that yourself?
Yeah.
Within society?
Yeah, it's been a shift forward. Obviously, it's still a long way to go, but it's moving in the right direction. And like I say, most of my friends are either rugby people, gym goers, or doormen, close protection. The worst categories of men for talking about stuff in macho environment. And it's like myself, I wore a mask. I think lots of people would get up every day and wear a mask. And I say to people, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I say, just speak to someone, just say hello. The person in the checkout in Tesco's, or the person at the petrol station. You don't know what's going on in their lives. They might have the biggest smile on their faces, the nicest car, but they might have just lost someone. They might have lost their job, or you don't know what's going on in their lives. Just say hello to them and smile. And if they lost someone, you might be the first person who's spoken to them in like 2 weeks. They might not have seen anyone. They might have been locked. You don't know why people are going. Just be nice to people. The world at the moment is so so there's a lot of negativity in the world. You've got people coming out just going to lockdown, the pandemic, which we still haven't seen the full extent of that, I don't think. But also you've got the financial crisis, you've got so much going on negative, the wars going on in the world, and we're all here for a holiday at the end of the day. We're all here, short time really, we look at the grand scheme of things. Just help each other, pick each other up, drop a text to your friend who haven't spoken to for a couple of weeks. Just say to them, how you doing, mate? However you speak to your friend, just drop a text, a quick phone call. You don't know what they're going through in life. Do you mean? And that little text they get, that little message they get, might be the little opening up for them to talk to someone, or open something that could be locked away, or thinking negatively, or just helps. Just be better. Just help each other out. I think to be I don't say walk around hugging each other. That's a bit strange. I don't think go that far, but just be nice to people. It doesn't cost anything to be nice, does it?
Did anyone do that for you when you were come off the back of what had happened? Was there an individual that stood out that did that for you?
My accident, or
the back of the accident when you were sort of going through that recovering, like, was there anybody that stood out that was like there and was like, how you doing, mate?
Not really back then, I suppose. Yeah, I obviously had friends, but I suppose I got lots of friends, thousands of friends on different categories of people: rugby, gym, old football, different things. But I on my one hand, I probably got friends I could talk to, I could trust implicitly, and I think it's important to everybody to have a support network of somebody they can trust in work. That could be a work colleague, your boss, your man, whoever, somebody you sit next to at the desk, just somebody you can trust and rely on. You can tell things implicitly to, who got your back as well. But like growing up, because I was my worst enemy as well, because I'm a big, strong guy. If somebody said something to me, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me. So that would be my response straight, which is a normal response off people sometimes. You say, oh no, that's fine. I got a couple of good friends who, if I'd opened up to them, they would have been there for me, but I wouldn't open up. I didn't open up. My family, again, brush under the carpet. They thought I changed the person. I was different. My son's one of them 5 people, I suppose, on my one hand. There's only certain things you can talk to your son about, I suppose. So
yeah.
You can't really talk too much to my son about certain things. But yeah, he's a great kid, and he's helped me in so many ways. He haven't literally saved my life, but he was born a couple of years after my accident, so I was still recovering as well from my accident. So him being born, even though it was a very stressful time, it helped save me, and it saved me massively, because I was going down a bad path, and he gave me a purpose in life again. So I'm from a close family. I wanted him to have a good role model, a father to look up to, and be a good role model for him. So I dragged myself out of bed in the days just to do something nice for him, and to go take him to rugby, take him to football, take him to a theme park, and I look up to his role model. So he helped me. He helped me in more ways than he's ever going to know, probably.
Because I'm a new father myself, so I've got a 6-week-old son at the moment.
Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Yeah, it's testing, but interesting. But
yeah.
I relate to that, like, kind of you looking at them and you think, was a time when obviously you're freshly out of a massively traumatic experience, and you've got this little life that's been brought into the world as well, which is so amazing. And you look at them and they can't speak, they can't communicate, but the way they look at you is you're their world. Was that like for you a moment of like, yeah, look, I've been through something that's like impacted my life, and it's changed my life catastrophically and momentously as well. But now he didn't know that. He wasn't there when that happened. Yeah. And I have to now be my best self for him. And that's helped you grow to who you are now.
Massive, yeah. That's what, like I say, he saved me in more ways than I could ever tell you, or ever he'll ever know. I think he knows now. But yeah, I drag myself out of bed in the morning. I'd put a smile on, put my mask on, and pull myself through, because I wanted to be a good role model for him, and wanted to look up to him. That's my dad. Be proud of his dad, I suppose. And so I used to go to the gym a lot, train a lot, and his friends, they wind him up, your dad's fitter than you and that. But I know he takes a bit of banter. But I wanted to push myself and be a good. I worked hard all my life. I worked in a good job in the bank, and insurance broker now. So I've had good jobs all my life. So I'm a role model for my son, I like to think, but not just my son. Off the back of the Traitors, lots and lots of people out there, teenagers who are struggling with certain things, or I don't know what they're struggling with, but I'm hoping they can look up to me. I think he can change his life around. If I can do it, I'm not educated man. I'm not qualified in anything. I'm just me. I'm just real. Do you mean? If I can do it, if people look up to me and think, well, he can do it, I can do it. I can pull myself out of a dark place, and you can. Everybody can.
I think that one thing that's just constantly in my head ringing when you're speaking is just like that quote of like, be the change that you want to see in the world, and you're like the personification of that. I think
thank you.
What you've gone through and where you've been now, where you are now. To me, you're just implementing those changes that potentially weren't there when you needed them.
Yeah.
And you're implementing them so that people that do need them now, you can lay those bricks down so they don't have to ask for them or look for them.
Yeah, spot on. Yes, I didn't know. It took me a long, long time to recover, I suppose. I could have recovered a lot sooner. I don't know, but happened. I can't change the past, I suppose. But yeah, it's true what you're saying there. I put things in place now, so I know my triggers. I know how to help other people. I can give advice out to other people. Know how to try and help and support them. And I'm not a qualified psychologist or counsellor, but I've got loads of life skills and life experience and things I've been through, and not just my accident. I've been through like separations, lots of different things in my life. I'm quite like rounded in comes in life in general, I suppose, which is life skills you can't learn that in school. I suppose I think in schools, for example, the teachers and the educational system's got a massive. They should change. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's important learning about King Harold and that, but let's be honest. Surely it's better to teach the kids about life skills, how to identify if your friend is struggling with their exams or struggling negative thoughts. I'm not saying turn all kids into counsellors or mini psychologists, but like just to identify what to do. If my friend had come to me when I was 14 back then and said, I'm having negative thoughts, or I'll kick a football around, you'll be all right. Pass it on, people, shut up. I wouldn't know what to say to them. But like, I know kids nowadays, if somebody went to some 14-year-old kid and said, I'm really stressed with my exams and I don't want to do it, I don't want to be here anymore and things, would any kid know what to do? I don't think anyone would. And I'm not saying putting pressure on kids, but like you just go and tell the teacher or what to signpost what to the kids. Surely teaching kids life skills like that would help suicide rates, help well-being, help the world, help everything, I suppose. It'd help people, and things like, learning about finance and money and percentages and APRs and insurance. Insurance is exciting, but learn about things like that. So when they are older and they go in the real world, when I left in the real world, Pythagoras theorem. I've never worked out a triangle. I've never done that in my life. I've never used pi r squared. Yeah. I don't care about King Harold in 1066 and an arrow in his eye. When am I going to use that in my life? I'm not taking away, don't get me wrong, don't show this to any teacher. I'm not taking away teachers. They do a great job. That's important to learn that sort of thing. You're never going to go away. But what I'm saying is, not replacing that, but in addition to, they should have lessons to learn about life, pregnancy, sex, and stop all these different things to stop, make the world a better place, and stop kids getting involved. It's so easy for a kid at 15, 14, 13 to go down the wrong path. It's so easy, like they get dropped from a rugby academy, dropped from a football academy, because sport is a cutthroat environment at the moment, and I know kids who've been dropped from an academy after 5 years by a text message. At 15 years of age, they're doing their GCSEs, their life is over. They're the next big Ronaldo or next big Alan Wynne Jones. All of a sudden they're dropped with no feedback, no support or anything, and then they're drinking, taking drugs, smoking, giving up sport altogether, and going down the wrong path. Whereas if they're nurtured properly and showed support and how to overcome certain things, and they'd be fine. It's not the end of the world. Sport is sport. It's important, but there's much more to life than sport. It's not just the end of the world. But I think things in schools need to change massively to help people in the future then.
I find it interesting you say that, because I feel like when you're younger at school, you learn like this is happiness and sadness and embarrassment. And then it just that's probably when you're like 5 or 6, and then it just stops there. But when you're sort of 12 or 13, your emotions go differently again, and it just feels, you're right, it just like stops and people just stop talking about it.
Yeah, that's right. I say to people, you can't say that to my kids. I said, don't worry about school. I said, I've never used anything in my life I've used in school. I worked at a bank for 17 years. I was a bank manager, so I learned addition, subtraction, multiplication. I learned that when I was 5. So actually in comprehensive school, I don't think I've ever used anything in my life that I've used in my life outside of where I left school. I said, so it's good. I'm not knocking teachers and the educational system or anything, but I think it needs to change for the better. Like at that age, that's the age you start educating people more, rather than wait till they're 30, 40, 50, or try and take their own life, or in crisis, or it's too late. Then they should have taught them at a young age how to identify certain triggers, how to support their mates, how to overcome objections, how to overcome failure. If they learned all these things at a young age, life would be not a breeze, but life would be much easier then, wouldn't it? I think, and happier.
I think like what you just said there, I mean, like I think that in a weird way, like society's here, and then the education at the moment is here, and they need to kind of meet each other, because we are still working the same way, and things are changing, like we said, but we're still working the same way that we were 30 years ago. Yeah. When actually the advancement of technologies and everything that has come with that, negative and positive, is well ahead of what we understand and what we're taught. And I think it's important, like you say, that we start opening up and those conversations so that it can help people. Yeah, that's right. So to sum up, given everything that you've been through, the highs and the lows, what is your overriding message for people? What are you hoping to bring through your motivational speaking and appearances like this today?
Well, basically, I want people to start communicating more, start opening up, checking on their friends, their family. And when I say communication, I don't just mean talking, listening as well. I think people need to listen better. People, when they say, I'll listen to you, when you start telling them, they'll start interrupting you, or they'll give them their opinion and thinking, you're not really listening to me. So just listening to people as well. I'm not knocking people. Just listen, just close your mouth and just listen to someone. Sometimes somebody's got a problem, getting off their chest and talking to someone, that's enough a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, there are issues which escalate further and they need more help, but there are issues they just want to vent and get off their chest first of all. So communication's key, and obviously don't think you're weak or it makes you less of a person if you talk and open up. And I said, talk to people, talk to your friends, and check in on people. So that's important as well. And yeah, don't judge your self-worth. Don't knock yourself. Take a step back sometimes and think, well, how well you're doing in life, and you're proud. And life gets in the way. Life is busy. I'm busy all the time. Do you know what I mean? But so I need to take a bit of my own medicine, I suppose, and think, and just sit back sometimes and reflect and think, I'm doing well in life. I'm doing well in life. I'm trying my best. I'm giving my all. I'm doing well. Whereas everybody's hard on themselves. Everybody's pushing themselves. And in work's the same. You go, this target, that target. And then a new month starts. It's got to zero again. The target starts again. But there's never any reflection or never any take a step back, take a breath. You had a great week, good month. You're doing really well. And it's just hard. It's relentless in careers, in jobs, in life. To me, everybody's rushing around, and just take a step back and just chill out for a couple of days, an hour or two, just an hour a day or an hour a month or a week or something, just to reflect on the things you've achieved in life and how well you're doing in life. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up all the time. And don't say negative things to yourself. That's one of the big things I stopped doing years ago, was stop talking negative to myself. Because even though you think it's just saying the odd comment or you silly whatever, you're saying things to yourself, your mind is listening to that all the time, and your unconscious mind it'll store that away. So when you're told something often enough, you start to believe it. Do you mean? And so I used to say horrible things to myself, ugly, fat, scars, nobody will ever warn you. Every single day. I said that for 20 years to myself. Every single day. I look in the mirror, do my hair, I'd be disgusted with what I see. I say horrible things to myself and go on my day. Every day you say that to yourself. So I wouldn't say that to my son or my mother or my best friend or my worst enemy. I wouldn't say these things to them. But why do I think it's acceptable to say it to myself? I wouldn't say it to my work colleague. I wouldn't say it. So stop talking to yourself about this. You talk negative to yourself all the time, you're going to start believing it eventually, So just say positive things to yourself. Don't say anything at all. Just be positive to yourself. Say, look in the mirror. So you are good looking. You're doing well in life. Just get on with the day. And just be positive. Start a day better then and get on with things. So yeah, just communication's a key thing.
So thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
And for talking to us. I know that our team really enjoyed sort of listening to you talk earlier, and I think it's given us all a lot of things to think about and reflect on. So thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been amazing. I could tell that staff and the atmosphere is good. I don't think put an act on because I'm here, but I think it's a genuine reaction when I come in here, and it's a genuine belief. I think it's genuine, like a family environment, and everyone's help everyone. And it's a friendly I've been in lots of offices over the years, and it's a nice friendly environment. I think the management are genuinely interested in their staff's well-being, and they want what's best for the staff. And obviously motivating staff and keeping staff feel valued, you get so much more out of your staff. And trying to show leaders of companies this is well-being is important. If you get it right, the productivity will fly through the roof on a selfish way. If your income your turnover will just substantially increase if you get your staffing right.
I'm guessing with that positive feedback, we can bank on you to order more rebuild cost assessments from us in the future.
Yeah, I'm starting work Monday.
Yeah,
I'm starting on the desk over there Monday.
Awesome. I think I say for everyone here that thanks for today and being so open and honest and coming to speak to us and sharing your story, and also your incredibly progressive ideas in terms of how we should be opening up and speaking in the workplace, but also just out and about in everyday society as well. Yeah. So,
thanks for having me. It's been amazing. I really enjoyed the day. It's been great. It's been a lovely place to come. It's good.